Doug, can you hear me okay?
Yep.
All right, let's have some fun. I'll kick us off. I'm going to introduce myself, the event. I'll let you introduce yourself. We'll talk about our colleagues in the field, the machine. We'll do well here. I'm pretty confident this is going to come off. There's always shit like this in live demos.
Yep. All right.
Well, that was an awesome video. How about that, Doug?
Eating through that material.
That's right.
Great way to start it.
Excellent. So welcome everyone to the Machinery Partner live demo of a slow speed shredder from the brand Olnova. We're excited to be here. I'm one of your hosts, David Blair. I am the CTO of Machinery Partner. I'm a mechanical engineer who spent a lot of time in factories helping companies like Caterpillar and John Deere bring products to market, always with a lens to technology. I'm joined here by Doug. Doug, do you want to say hello?
Yeah. Hey, everybody. Thanks for joining us. So my name's Doug. Work here at Machinery Partner as a sales engineer. Started out in the support and operations side of things. And I've got about a 13-year to 14-year background as diesel technician, heavy equipment tech. So thanks again, everyone, for joining.
Awesome. So we also have some colleagues in the field that are going to help us run this live stream demo. We have Zach, who is a diesel mechanic, welder, who's worked a lot on in the coal industry in Western Pennsylvania. We also have some field support from Daniel and our sales team that is on site where the shredder is. So they're joining us. So first, we want to welcome you to this awesome event. We're going to show you an incredible machine that can do a lot for you to save you money. But before we do, we wanted to just introduce Machinery Partner again. Machinery Partner is a company that really helps industrial innovation get to market and get distributed across the U.S. We help factories move machines, but we don't just help them acquire customers and bring new distribution through an online mechanism. We also support the customer every step of the way. We help them get finance. We help them get started and learn the machines, commission the machines. We're there to stand behind support and parts and service. We are there every step of the way for a great experience for you, the customer, to buy in a new way. And so we're excited about this. Today's event is really going to feature Olnova. I'm going to tell a little bit about the factory and the brand, but I'm going to let Doug maybe say a couple words about meeting the factory. He's been there. He's been on site. This is a picture from the factory. The brand started in 1997, almost 30 years old, have built about 2,000 of these machines, these industrial shredders, slow speed shredders, primary shredders. The typical use case here is really trying to take care of waste, whether it's industrial waste, wood waste, metal scrap, and it's about densification, it's about processing so you can recycle or to be more efficient in getting rid of waste. We're going to talk a lot about some use cases, but this company is about 250 people. They started in the Ukraine, have moved their headquarters to Germany, have been the machine we're going to see, the Olnova 75, they've made about 400 of these in their history. So a lot of learnings keep going back into these machines to make them better with every production run, every lot that's built at the factory. So Doug, you've been to the factory. You want to tell us a little bit about what you saw there?
Yeah, absolutely. So I took a trip last April to go visit Olnova, right? To learn about their machines, learn about how they're built, and learn the story behind them. And I can't say that I was anything short of amazed when I showed up, right? The build quality, the way the factory listens to your concerns, makes adjustments, just really well built machines and really great support from the ground up. One example of that, is the switch over to Caterpillar, right? Caterpillar's huge in the US. They're now putting Caterpillar engines in their machines so we can have better support stateside. The build quality, I can't get over, right? The attention to detail, the things they do to make their machines the best in this lineup is just astounding. So you choose Olnova, know that you're getting the best machine out there. There's a reason other people copy what they're doing.
Awesome. So what you see on your screen right now are sort of a small, medium, and large shredder from the brand Olnova. We're going to really focus in on that middle one. This is the 75. Let's just talk a little bit about why you would buy one of these machines. It's really important to understand what we're doing here. We're helping companies take care of waste, whether it's wood waste, metal waste, recycling, whether it's C&D. And one of the real primary use cases is just densification, right? You want to spend less time, money, and fuel moving materials around so you can densify that waste before you haul it off maybe to a landfill or do something else with it. I'm going to share with you a couple use cases. We sold this exact machine, the 75, to a small community in Alaska that had a real waste problem. They had to they live on an island, they have to dispose of waste, and they have things like fiberglass boats. They have things like white goods, like washing machines and refrigerators. To transport that all at bulk is very expensive to move it off the island. So they have bought a shredder to really reduce the size, and you can get some serious reduction ratio, right? That's one of the things we're talking about. White goods, you can go from 12 to 1 in terms of, reduction ratio. We have some contractors who have bought these machines who are tearing down houses and buildings. And, one example is we have a customer who planned to buy 50 dumpsters for a construction project, a demolition project, brought one of these machines on site because it's mobile and was able to reduce that to about 7 total dumpsters. So like serious reduction in waste. That translates to less hauling costs. That translates to money savings for the contractor, right? Not needing to use all of those dumpsters that were moved. And so these are some examples of why you want a machine like this. And so I think Doug, anything you want to share about like what you've seen, why customers buy a machine like this?
Yeah, I think there's so many different applications you can put a shredder into, right? We've had so many calls and talks and even current customers that are using shredders to really innovate whatever industry they're in, right? We have a customer that's looking to take municipal solid waste, reduce it, and then use that waste to power lime kiln to produce concrete in Portland, right? So many different things you can do with these. You can really think outside of the box, and they'll take care of you. One of the big things, you know, like we've seen in some of the pictures, is reduction in cars, right? So you can take a car body, put it through here, and rather than hauling 1 or 2 cars to the dump at a time, you can take a container with 15 cars and make 1 trip, right? So lots of innovation, lots of cost savings. It really is a moneymaker.
Awesome. All right. So that's the introduction. Let's give you the playbill, the run of show today. So we're going to take you through a bit of a machine tour, really talk about some of the specs of it, talk about some of the features of this Olnova 75. We're then going to run material. We're going to run material of industrial waste. We're going to run some tires. We might have some fun with something that we found on site. But you're going to see metal, you're going to see tires, you're going to see waste run, and we're going to see the before and after. And then we're going to just close with some questions and take questions from the field. But really, this is about how do we share with you the power, the versatility, and the performance of this machine, and how it can help you save money in serious ways. So with that, maybe we want to cut over to the machine live on site. And I think it's important to maybe say, like, look, we're on a remote site, right? The whole, one of the real selling features of this machine is it's on track. So you can take it anywhere. So like we're on a remote site here in northern New Jersey, where cell phone internet's not great. So, you know, you're getting the real deal here. But you see we have an excavator that's going to load the machine. You see some tires going into it, into the hopper that has a lift hopper. You see easy access to the engine bay. You see a conveyor where the shredded material is going into a dumpster to move it off site. So this is a little bit of the high level overview. Doug, do you want to talk a little bit about the specs of this machine?
Yeah, absolutely. So what I want to start out with is, since we just saw them shutting one of the site access panels, right? Serviceability is key when you're looking at something like a mobile shredder, mobile crusher, whatever it may be. Well, Olnova has gone and designed their machines to open up wide open so you can get in very easily without removing any static components to service your machine. So inside that compartment that they were just in, you have a Cat 9.3 in there that you can get in. You can almost stand up in that engine bay to work on, right? So huge serviceability pluses with accessibility. At the backside, you've got your radiator access. So you can open that whole door open. You can blow out the radiator. You have reversible fans to do that for you. Open up the back, clean it all out. As you see here in the video, that hopper is going up. That hopper is automatic. So as you load, it's going to tip up and feed your material into your shredding chamber. That shredding chamber, each one of the shafts has about just over 90,000 foot-pounds of torque. So you take that times 2, you've got both shafts turning to downsize your material. This machine is a high torque, low speed shredder. So it's different than what you might see in like a horizontal grinder, right? So you're using torque to get through your material to reduce it. This is what would be considered a primary shredder. So you're getting that general reduction to then be refined if you want to refine that material with a secondary shredder. Things that this machine has, you can see the oversized extraction belt there moving the tires that are currently being shredded. That's going to carry everything out and put it into the dumpster. If you look towards the base of that conveyor, you can see an overband magnet belt. You can see some pieces of tire with cord that's getting pulled out and put to the side. That overband magnet is great to separate metal from non-magnetics. So you can really save and recycle that metal product. You can see it's mounted on tracks. Everything's going to be self-contained and powered. You can control the tracks from a remote control that's wired to the machine. You can control them with a wireless remote as well. And if you just want to open up the door and use manual levers, you can manually track this machine. So lots of versatility, lots of options in what you want to do. And it just really makes it easy.
That's right. And this factory's been, building these machines for, like I said, almost 30 years, production run of 2,000 machines plus. Um, they've really refined it so that, you'll find thicker sheet metal, you'll find high quality, high penetrating welds, you'll find weather proofing on the wiring harness. And, all of this has come back over those 30 years of learnings to make this a great machine. And they actually offer one of the best warranties in the market with this, with 1,500 hours on the warranty. And this is like basically they just real believer in the quality of this machine, the durability of it. And look, I think it's probably important that we talk about like what is the actual core process going on here, right? Like there's a lot of different ways to destroy things, right? But what we have inside of this machine are two shaft shredders. This is a dual shaft slow speed shredder. There are single shaft shredders. There are high speed grinders and hammer mills. This is a slow shaft shredder. As Doug said, it's about torque, ripping the material apart, and you have different types of shafts that can go into this machine to process different materials. So you have an optimized output, right? So you need to consider what you're putting in to like how much material you can process. But Doug, do you want to talk a little bit about the different shafts that come with this machine that are optional for the customer?
Absolutely. So with this type of machine, right, you've got different use cases you can put it to. So when you're thinking about what shaft is right for me, all you need to do is call us. We can talk you through what's going to work best. So when we're thinking about what we're going to process, we're going to go through different shaft options. These shaft options will come with your shafts, side combs on the side to help with the braking and the size reduction, and then a breaker bar under the center. So the different types of shafts you can get, I believe there's 3 different types of wood shafts, depending on the product you're trying to make or what you're trying to downsize. You also could get a C&D shaft, which is going to be more for breaking up aggregate, so concrete, brick, cinder block. You can also get the universal shaft. The universal shaft is for materials like tires. That's what's in our machine today. So it's tires, softer metal, thinner metal, wood waste, universal, but on the softer side of things. You don't want to put any sort of aggregate through this machine with a universal shaft. They also make shafts like designed for railway sleepers, for example, that will take that, tear it all up, right? And then if you want to get into a specific metal application, you can get a specific metal shaft. So there's lots of versatility. Changing and swapping out the shafts, side combs, and breaker bar are really pretty easy. If you have the equipment on site to do it, you can do it in the field. These shafts are designed to last the lifetime of the machine. And I say that lightly because you're going to need to maintain your shafts. As things break off, if you have a tooth bend or something break, you need to make sure that you get in there and take care of it. The shafts are about 12 millimeters thicker than any other shaft on the market, which allows you to add more hard facing and more repairs without the fear of heat distortion when you're working on your shafts. Anything to add there, David?
No, I think, look, we'll get into maintenance a little bit around running this machine. And, I think we'll show some examples, some pictures of different shaft configurations for C&D, for wood, and for municipal waste. I think we're going to move to trying to run some more material. We saw tires. We also have a dumpster full of items. We're going to pull that up and show some of that. Looks like we got something else going into the shredder right now. I think the team's having some fun here. What is that? Is that a trampoline? Is that something metal?
Looks like it could be. So right now they're putting through some light metal waste. So things like appliances, trampolines. I believe there may be a bicycle that we could see going here today. Like I said, this universal shaft is going to be good for your appliances, your lighter metals, aluminum. It'll eat through it just fine. So you can see the materials loaded. Now that hopper's raising. You load the material in the hopper raises and puts it into the shredding chamber. This helps you prolong the life of your machine and your shafts. The reason that is because you're loading into a hopper that's going to automatically load and slide the material onto the shafts. You're not direct feeding where you have the chance of dropping something heavy directly on a tooth to cause damage. So it is really cool how this works. And there's different loading hoppers for their different sizes of machines, right?
Nice. You can also see that there's a big pile of wood, tree stumps. We're going to run that at some point. We have the universal shafts of this machine, so it can process pretty much anything. It's the most accommodating for a wide variety of materials.
Right. And I see Charlie just put a question in the chat. He said, what different kind of material can it handle? Concrete with rebar? So like we're talking about, this machine can be built out to handle all types of different materials. When you're looking at doing something like concrete, you would go for the C&D shafts. Now, the cool thing and the great thing about a shredder is if you have that buildup of reinforced concrete, a lot of rebar, wire, whatever may be in there, this machine is going to chew through it no problem. It can handle that absolutely, Charlie.
All right, we got a couple other questions coming in. What is the reduction ratio for things like tires? I'm going to take you through that in a second. I'm going to pull up some information I have here for myself. It really is material dependent, right? And so when it comes to things I mentioned, like white goods, like refrigerators and dishwashers, that's like a 12-to-1 reduction ratio. For tires, we are looking at a 5-to-1 reduction ratio. And really, some people know that, to dispose of tires is pretty expensive, right? Like I've seen fees of $40 a tire at some municipalities to get rid of tire. If you rip them apart and shred them down, you can now just really have them as general waste so that you can have them in just your dumping costs. So when you go to a transfer station, you're not paying $40 a tire, you're just paying by weight of everything else in your dumpster. So there's a huge savings there. And this is really going to reduce that waste. Tires are a really interesting thing, right? They cause all kinds of issues, right? Like just they are high volume, right? When they're intact the way they are, and so they're really hard to dispose of. You want to break them down so that you can get rid of them easier. They cause disease when they're filled with water, with bugs and insects. There's also the risk of fire. So we want to get tires disposed of, shredded, ripped apart, so that you could get them to a landfill or get them to a secondary shredder or other processors to further recycle them. So these are primary shredders. Again, this is primarily about reduction, taking the intact product and getting it down to something that could then be processed further or move on to something like a landfill. We have other reduction ratios as well. We could share around, C&D. It could be 8-to-1. So tearing down that house, tearing down that building. There is for scrap, for car bodies, which you saw at the beginning in the video, it's kind of like 8-to-1 is the reduction ratio. So look, every time you see that reduction ratio, that is money saved, right? 8 times savings in terms of getting rid of this information, or I'm sorry, this material when it comes to things like white goods or car bodies or sleepers of railways. So yeah, that's the value we're trying to get the customers to save money here.
Absolutely. And Joel, to your question, like David just said, absolutely, you could use this to shred a house up. They do make a size up that you might be able to put that whole house into the machine with one bite. I say that jokingly, but yes, you can take a house, anything that's inside of it, furnishings, appliances, anything like that can go through this machine and it will reduce the size. I do see another question in here about adjusting the material output size. When we're looking about adjusting the size, so the size that's going to come out is going to be anywhere between 5 to 16 inches. That is controlled by your side combs and your shaft teeth. So as your teeth pull material down and it's shredding, those side combs are going to help clean the teeth, but it's also going to help the size reduction ratio, the output, stay consistent for that 5 to 16. There's no adjustment to take and make this a specific output, right? Like we talked about earlier, this is a primary shredder. It's going to get everything reduced down. There are machines that we do have access to and carry that can get you very specific output sizes. I hope that answered your question, Matt.
Doug, it's pretty cool to see. We see the machine being filled with some municipal waste. One of the best practices here is a excavator with a thumb so that you can kind of place the material correctly on the hopper. You can load this machine. Oh, look at that. This is about getting rid of that C&D and municipal waste here. You can load it with a loader, but I think more of a best practice is what we're seeing in this demonstration today. So we're getting some questions on maintenance. Doug, this is probably your wheelhouse, but I'm happy to elaborate. I've spent some time really getting to know the machine myself, but you've spent a lot of time in the field doing work on machines. So maybe I'll let you lead on this one, and I'll add some of my thoughts as well.
Yeah, absolutely. So when we're thinking about, first of all, thank you for the question, Joel. When we're thinking about preventative maintenance, right, you're going to have your daily maintenance, you're going to have your weekly, monthly, and so on and so forth. So when we're talking about daily maintenance, the main thing that you have to do is it's really 3 areas. You're going to grease your machine, you're going to check your belts, and you're going to check your shafts. Now, the 4th area, which should be done every single day, is going to be your engine side. So, of course, you're going to do any sort of regular engine maintenance, checking your fluids, making sure all your hydraulic fluids full, oil's good, things like that. When we're looking at daily maintenance and greasing, I say daily, that's for every 8 hours of operation. You're going to go through and grease this machine. You're going to grease bearings. You're going to grease gearboxes. Everything is outlined in the manual very specifically on where and when. But when we walk around this machine to grease, we're also going to be doing that daily inspection, right? So it should take you about half an hour in the morning to grease, walk through as you're greasing, checking cylinders, belts, shafts, everything there. More specifically, when we're talking about heavier maintenance, your shafts are going to be number 1 for maintenance checks. You need to ensure that everything is good on your shafts. You can actually run your shafts with the remote to inspect them. And after the first 50 hours of operation, you're going to remove the shafts and hard face them. Now, the hard facing can take anywhere from a day to 2 days, depending on who or how you are doing it. And then you'll go ahead and put those shafts back in. The hard facing can be done to the side combs as well to prevent wear. After that 50 hours, it's recommended to re-hard face every 150 to 300 hours. That's a loose range, but the key to your hard facing is to make sure you're keeping up with the wear on your shafts from the material you're processing. So as you see the hard facing go down, you're going to get in there and build it back up.
Doug, hard facing is nothing new in the industry, right? People hard face their buckets. People hard face to preserve the life of a piece of a component on equipment. Like I said, most common people are hard facing their buckets. that's some of the work that you have to do to maintain these shafts, right? So the shredder is creating lots of friction and wear on this as it rips through the material, and so those things start to dull out and grind down. And so one of the cool features about these machines is you can swap in the shafts with new ones if you buy a second set. That's pretty common when our buyers buy these machines, but you can also maintain them. So when you take that worn down shaft out, you're pulling it off, and you're spending some time hard facing, right? So you're laying a bead of weld on those different teeth that you see in this picture here to bring it back to its volume and its size, so that you can continue to rip material apart. Doug, any thoughts on that? You've probably done some of this in your day.
Done lots of hard facing. Hard facing is very, very important when you're talking about wear items, right? If you're talking about a cutting edge on a bucket, if you're talking about the sidewalls on your bucket, it's important to do to make sure your equipment lasts you as long as it possibly can, right? So it's just a preventative maintenance item that's going to make this machine last longer for you. You're going to get more material through those shafts and get a greater ROI off of the standard setup. And this picture here that we can see, we're actually looking down in the shredder shaft. This, I believe, is going to be our universal shafts. I can't quite tell. You'd have to zoom in a little bit. But this is how your shafts are going to look, right? So your shafts are in the middle, and then you have your side combs on the side, and underneath in the middle is where your breaker bar is at. The cool thing about these machines is when you are shredding, right, you're moving a lot of torque. You're really digging through this material. Let's say that you have something get in there that's too strong and it's going to stop the shafts, or it takes a weird bite and it stops the shaft. What's going to happen? Well, these machines are outfitted with pressure transducers. It's constantly monitoring each shaft individually, and even your extraction belt. So if it sees something that's jamming up, let's say one of your shafts is slowing down and jamming up, it's going to send a signal to the computer to reverse that shaft, turn asynchronously, synchronously, whatever it may be. It's going to free that material up, and then it's going to allow it to re-engage back into its normal shredding operation. So when we're talking about watching what's going in there and monitoring the shafts, this machine is going to do a lot of that for you to ensure that you're shredding properly. So I just think that's a really cool item. The other thing I want to touch on, since we were just talking about maintenance, is these machines are outfitted with telematics for the machine side. So they have a router and a SIM card to where the OEM is going to monitor this machine for the lifetime of the warranty. It's going to be your 1,500 hours, 18 month. And they're going to make any adjustments they need to for the shredder as you operate.
Doug,
you'll never even know they're in there.
Doug, I got to just interject. We see some material really flowing off the machine right now. It's being loaded pretty efficiently by our operators. They're throwing a lot of material at it, and it's just eating it. Like it's taking care of business here.
Yeah, it absolutely is. So this is everything coming out of that dumpster. I think one of the cool things we're going to do is we can show you a picture of the dumpster full. I believe you could see it in the beginning of our stream. And then after we're done shredding, we'll get a close up of the new dumpster and show you that reduction. So how full is it now compared to when it wasn't shredded? But this machine is just chewing through it. You can see the output there is just substantial.
Maybe something to share, like when you're running a machine like this, it's creating some dust, right? It's running and making sometimes a mess, right? So like it's really important for an operator to be attentive to see what's laying around the machine, throwing it back up into the hopper. But there's some nice features of this machine. They plan for a dirty environment. There's a blower on it to clean out the radiator. So like as you run in a dusty environment, you can get some dust suppression for these as well, where you spray some water on the machine or on the conveyor belt as the material exits the machine, so that that reduces dust as well. So it's been designed to like kind of live in this harsh environment and to handle all the stuff starting to go up into the air, if you will.
Absolutely. I see Joel's posting another question about catastrophic failure, right? So what if something major happens? What kind of support do we have? So I can touch on that. One of the awesome things about working directly with Olnova, the manufacturer, is we have a direct line of support to them. If something happens and there's an issue, we can have the engineers directly online to plug in and look through that telematics to see if it's a programming issue. If it's a mechanical issue, we have direct support to get those parts to you as fast as possible. If they don't have anything in stock, they'll pull it off the production line and get it over to us for a quick and timely repair. As far as tech support, right? So we partner with our techs to be on site, local to you, and they will come out and perform that repair for you. So you have no worry about needing the instructions and needing to do the work on your own. We will handle that support as well.
Doug, I think it's worth calling out that we have a holding yard in northern New Jersey. This is where this machine is actually with parts. We have spare shafts at that facility. We have another warehouse and holding yard, landing yard in Ohio, and we have a parts depot south of Boston. So, Joe, I think we have you pretty well covered, and everyone at Machinery Partners committed to your success, and so we'll bend over backwards to make sure that you get the support you need. And like we know that uptime is key, and so like that's job one. Make sure that you are up and running at all times. So we're working hard to solve that problem and to be there for you, and just be responsive. We pick up the phone when the call comes in. We have a support team in-house to help get it solved. Then if we need to like file a warranty claim with the manufacturer and get that resolved, we're on it right away. If we need to find alternate parts that are quicker lead time, we have teams sourcing parts that could be done locally. But we also have direct conduit to the factory. That's what's pretty awesome about working with Machinery Partner. We hear this time and time again, like, you guys are directly connected to the factories you represent, and you can just short circuit it. We delivered, this is a different customer, but we had a crusher that was delivered to a customer in Hawaii of all places, and the factory came on site to make sure that the commissioning went well. And the customer has been buying equipment for 40 years. Like, I've never met anyone from a factory before. And so like that was pretty awesome to hear that like we create this direct route to the factory, and look, we're trying to make the factory give them data to make their machines better, but we have that really tight communication loop to really ensure that the customer is fully supported. So I wanted to share that story because I thought it was pretty interesting. That was just a few weeks ago we heard that. 40 years in business, never met anyone from a factory, but working with Machinery Partner and the brands we represent, that feels like it's a regular occurrence.
Hey, David, Doug, we're about to put a trampoline in this bad boy.
All right, let's cut back over to the trampoline.
No more jumping after this, I'll tell you.
We'll come back to what was just showing up there. We just want to show you what the different shafts look like, and a few key specs about this specific machine. But we're sort of breaking it down so it can fit into the hopper, and this is we'll turn this into a TikTok, I think, Doug, right? So that we can get the enjoyment of watching destruction in the palm of our hands.
Absolutely. So David, you talked about breaking this down so it can fit. One of the most important questions or most frequent questions we get is, how big a material can I put into this machine, right? What are the dimensions of the shredding chamber? So what's really cool about this machine is when you're thinking about the shredding chamber, all you need to think about is width, right? Because the shredder will pull the material in. Depending on the length, it will just suck it down as it's processing. Now, you don't want to go and put a 30-foot tree into this because it's going to kick around like crazy. But when we're talking about the shredding chamber, it's about 5'9" wide. With the total shredding chamber and loading hopper combined, It's 16 foot 2 inches. You can put sizable pieces of material or large buckets of material in here, and the machine will be able to handle it and load it. So I decided to touch on that since we talked about breaking it down.
Yeah, super cool. Let's see what happens here.
All righty, we are set for the show.
The tip-up feature is nice. On the smaller shredders, you don't have the tip-up hopper like this. It is a custom option in some cases, but that's a standard feature on this model. More tons per hour with this model than the smaller, the little brother of this guy. This is sort of the Goldilocks version that not too big, not too little, can do a lot of different things.
Absolutely. And as we're talking about the loading hoppers, so that can be on an automatic sequence to load. As you fill it, that hopper will automatically go up. You can also run that with your remote. And in the cab of your excavator, that wireless remote can be sitting in there, and you can shut off that automatic load at any time. So you really have full control of this machine at the palm of your hands when you're operating. It can be a one-man show.
I wish we had a boat on hand like our customer in Alaska. That was pretty awesome to see. A fiberglass boat
Absolutely.
get sucked through this.
Looks like we're just getting it all folded in, and then we'll go for it.
Doug, you mentioned Caterpillar component, for the engine. We've got gearboxes from premium brands, hydraulic pumps from premium brands. Anything more you want to say about the kind of, oh, here we go. Anything you want to say about the components of the machine?
Yeah, so what I'll say is the components within this machine are all high quality, right? They understand these machines are doing a very violent action, as you can see taking place here. So they know that they don't want their internals to fail. So they use premium parts to ensure long-lasting components. Also, the nice thing about that is everything inside this machine, we can source locally, and the factory will support us in that. So if you have a component that fails that's under warranty, we can source that component from a local dealer, and the factory will approve it and take care of it, right? So it's a very modular design. You can replace with what you have.
There were also some questions about maintenance, and we covered some of the preventative maintenance. We covered some of the shaft maintenance with hard facing. I think it's worth sharing or saying that these bigger sized machines typically have less maintenance involved because they are made for durability. Everything is oversized, right? Bigger gearboxes, thicker sheet metal, stronger engines. And so you would think, hey, a bigger machine, does that mean more maintenance? It's actually the inverse of that. Smaller machines require a bit more, and these can just handle what you throw at it better because it's so big and beefy, if you will. We've seen that in the field.
Exactly. But for example, what they're putting in there now, David, they're putting in 2 root clusters. Very tough stuff to get rid of. You can't really burn them. Let's shred it. Let's watch it get reduced, right? So when you're putting in big things, you need big things to support it.
That's right. It's part of the fun of this job, right? We get to see big, cool machines doing some destruction.
Absolutely.
Hey, do you guys want to check out how the remote works? How it pushes the hopper up?
Yeah, let's go ahead and show that.
Let's go for it. Thanks, Dan.
So right here, we've got the wireless remote. You can see where he's pushing that toggle, automatically kicks on that hopper. So now we're throwing these root clusters in. We're going to break them down and get rid of them.
Look at the material coming off. That's great.
Super fast. Something that takes days to burn, a big pile, you're looking at minutes to shred. So
And you might ask, like, sometimes you see wood processors like a horizontal grinder or a big, massive chipper. One of the things, if you're trying to get rid of wood waste with something like that, is you have to be very careful if there's ever like contaminants like rocks in that root ball, right? You're going to destroy the chipper blades very quickly. Whereas this slow speed shredder can just power through with the torque. It's got the beefy teeth. And like, it doesn't really care if there's rocks or metal nails or, pieces of fence. It just rips right through it. So it's one of the advantages to a machine like this for dealing with some of the organic wood, because organic wood is not always clean, right? And so I've been around some of these horizontal grinders and chippers, and you destroy those finely sharpened blades very quickly when dealing with a root ball like that. But in this case, it just doesn't even blink at it.
Absolutely. And like we've talked about before, this being a primary shredder, with that magnetic belt, if you're shredding wood, whatever it may be, you're going to pull that metal out. So then you can take this and put it into a tub grinder without checking for any metal, right? You've got clean, good, consistent material. That leads me into one of the other questions I see in the chat from Eamon. He put in there, will swamp wood, organic matter with a high particle density be appropriate for the universal shafts? So the universal shafts will shred any type of wood you can put in here. However, if you have a specific type of wood that has a higher density and you really want to break it down finer, there are specific shafts. So there's 3 or 4 different types of wood shafts that you can purchase to put into this machine, right? You have your standard universal, you have your standard wood, you have your alligator wood, different shafts for different applications, but absolutely you could use the universal shafts and it's going to do a good job at it, as you can see here.
Nice. Everyone, I just want to remind our audience that we have about 13 minutes left of the live stream. So if you got questions, please throw them in. We are ready to talk. Oh, there's a great question that just came. Is this particular machine for sale? Absolutely. This machine is in New Jersey. It's on short lead time. We can deliver it quickly. People like Zach, who is running the excavator right now, would be out to do commissioning, which really consists of going through post-delivery inspection. It means going through training with you, the operator. It means running material to make sure you feel comfortable with it. It's going through safety checks. It's going through preventative maintenance. It's getting your warranty registered. So like, we have people on site with you through the startup experience to make sure that you feel like you're getting great value from the equipment. I think you also see in the background there, the big brother of this machine, the 95, is there as well. And that's also available. So like, if you need even more, we see the 95 in a lot of scrap yards, like dealing with more of the stronger metals that need to be ripped apart, steel and aluminum. So it's a little bit more for the metal recycling world. This is... well, you saw, we ran tires, we ran just waste. Here we're running organic root balls, stumps. So yeah, we have in the background there, you can see the 95, which is more power, more torque.
Yeah, it's crazy, the size difference, right? So you can crawl inside of this 75 to work on that engine. You can walk inside the 95 to do your engine maintenance. It is a big machine meant for big applications. I see another question that just popped up from Heavy Machinery Academy. Can you shred concrete in this? Absolutely. You can put concrete through with your C&D shafts, right? So you have to make sure you have the correct shafts. That concrete can have any sort of rebar, wire, anything in it. This machine will process it. And if you look towards the front near that extraction conveyor, you can see a little magnetic belt that's hanging down over top. That magnetic belt will pull any sort of metal contamination out and pile it on the side. So at the end of it, you have a good, clean, shredded concrete product.
So we're going to see this tip up. We're going to see it run material, and we're going to cut over to showing you a quick technical data sheet on these shafts, just so you can visualize what the different ones look like. So here is an overview of the machine. If we go to the next slide here, oh, unfortunately we can't rotate it. Can we rotate it? Can we zoom in? Well, what you see on the left, on the bottom of your screen, is the 3 different dual shafts, the cassette that you buy, right? The one on the left is C&D, and if we could zoom in, you would see that there is a lot more mass behind the teeth on that, right? And that's for dealing with the concrete, with the rebar, bricks. You know, you're knocking down a building. This will handle it no problem. The one in the middle is it's too bad we can't zoom in here.
Yeah, so the one in the middle, I can help you out, David. So
Okay.
the one in the middle is the alligator shafts.
Yep.
This is going to be more aggressive teeth for wood, right? Your hardwoods, your natural woods, your green waste. This will take care of anything in that sort of segment. And then if we look at the shaft on the far right, that's going to be your universal, or what's in the machine right now. And that's going to be used for scrap, wood, plastics, MSW, your lighter metals, things like that. It's going to take care of just fine.
And there's a master class on the design around this. For metal, you might have rippers, you might have paddles to push material in. We're happy to take you through that. We don't want to bore you with that, but there's a lot of versatility. And like we said, a bit of a best practice when someone buys a machine like this, they get an extra one to keep running, and then they can hard face and repair when they get when they need to have something on standby ready to go in.
Absolutely. Thomas, I see you just put a question in the chat there. So we have a very dusty environment. Can you get reversible fans for radiator cleaning? Absolutely. So that comes as standard. You've got your reversible fan standard. All you need to do is just open the rear cover for the radiator, reverse those fans, blow it out, and you're good to go.
Yep. And there's, like we said, there are spray kits for this to put on to the conveyor, over the hopper, to try to minimize dust. There's also solutions for just the operation. You could get a spray cannon to just keep the dust down on the site, if you will, versus just the machine. Those are something we can help you with.
Right.
Doug, there's a great question about changing out shafts, and with experience comes efficiency. You want to talk to that?
Absolutely, Bill. Great question. So when we're looking at swapping out shafts, obviously we have 3 different size machines that are currently offered, right? So the smaller machine, the Model 5, which is a great universal shredder, we have a customer that swapped those shafts out in about 3 hours the first time, and then about an hour the second time. With something like the 75, you're probably looking at about half a day to just swap the first time. As you do it, you're going to find the tricks and the little shortcuts you can do to make sure that everything goes in very smoothly. But I would say for your first time on a model this size, you're probably going to be looking at half a day to do a shaft swap.
And Doug, correct me if I'm wrong, there's no real special tooling to do that. It's standard tools that's in your toolbox. You're using your excavator to pull the shafts out as a lifting device. There's nothing unique that you need to be able to do this.
Right. So anything that is unique is provided to you by the OEM. And all that is a little T-bar that you'll put at the front of the shafts where they couple into the drives. And that will basically just keep them at the width they need to be for reinstallation.
Oh, here we go. Live view of the shafts inside this machine.
Perfect. So like I was talking about, that T-bar will go on the right-hand side. Slide it down in, and you're good to go. Very
And those are the universal shafts that you see for good for scrap, wood, plastic, municipal solid waste. That's what you see in this machine.
See another question that came up, David. I'll let you take this one from Tim.
Oh, people asking about financing. Yeah, that's part of the service Machinery Partner provides, right? We're not just here to help sell you something. We're looking after you through your entire life cycle of owning the machine. Part of that is getting you the financing you need to purchase this, right? And I'm a little bit conservative in like taking out loans, but like if a machine's making me money or saving me $30,000 a month. And look, we have ROI calculators on our website. We could bring those up for every one of these shredders. You can dial in some of your data around like how many dumpsters do you move every week, or I'm sorry, every month. What material you're moving, you're trying to dispose of, and we can help you like understand that. But yes, Machinery Partner provides financing. We have an awesome in-house financing team that will work with you depending on your credit to get you the right financial product to suit this, and like help you build the business case as well of like, hey, okay, maybe the payment on the note is $7,000 or $10,000 a month, but like if it's saving me 30, like that's a no-brainer, right? And so like we have the tools to help you understand that. We also have a team that will work with you to help get you the credit you need so that you can purchase. So that is a service we have as just part of the Machinery Partner experience.
Absolutely. It truly is a one-stop shop when you're coming to buy equipment. You get your service, you get your financing, you get your equipment, and then you get your support, right? So it's a great way to go about purchasing equipment.
Awesome. So we got about 3 minutes. We should probably start to wrap up. We didn't really get to see the bigger brother behind, but that's okay. Maybe we'll take a quick walk over there. Looks like a beautiful day in northern New Jersey. Doug, is it right? Oh, look. So look, one of the things to consider here is you have a much longer conveyor, so a bigger stockpile, right? So you move the machine less, you're moving material less.
Absolutely. So very cool machine here, very large, right? One thing I do want to point out is you can see in the top front of that hopper, if you could notice, there's a cylinder. This machine will fold down into itself for transportation to make it much easier to move, right? And then you get it on site, unfold it, and you're ready to go. Typical setup would take probably about 10 minutes, right? Going through the functions, locking everything in. What we're looking at here is your HMI. That would be called the human machine interface. This is where you're going to see everything that's going on with this machine, right? It's going to tell you what's on. It's going to give you different selections you can make for wired remote, wireless remote, or just your static operator station there. Down below, you can see the wireless remote is present. That wireless remote is going to give you access to all of your functions. You can run everything from inside the cab of your excavator. There's even an LCD screen on some of these remotes that will tell you what's going on when you're paired. Very simple to use, right? And of course, when you purchase through Machinery Partner, you get a day of on-site training with our machine specialists to get you feeling comfortable with your machines.
There's a great view of the access that you talked about. I think I saw a picture of you inside of there standing, no problem.
Yeah. And I'm 6'2". I just had to hunch a little bit over, but I was good to stand up and walk around. So you can really see the amount of space you have for serviceability. Everything's laid out. All the hoses are routed very nicely. Wiring harnesses routed very nicely. They really take attention to detail seriously.
That's awesome.
Off on the right-hand side, on the doors, you can see you have an access ladder, fuel tanks, easy access to get to. It's just a very, very modular machine that's very efficient to work on and operate.
That's every piece of feedback over 30 years just being put back into the machine to make it better, to really know the environment it runs in. Hey everyone, we're coming to the end of the live stream. I think one thing that I also want to say, look, we are equipment people, no question. We love machines, but we're also data and technology people. And I would encourage anyone who's listening, you can go to our website, you can compare the 95 to the 75 to the Model 5. You can see all the data around weight and stockpile size, transportation dimensions, fuel consumption, engine horsepower, torque. You know, we have that sort of experience where you can do some comparison shopping, which I think is pretty novel for our industry, to be able to just see the data side by side. You know, I don't know of a lot of other places doing it. And, you know, we're trying to be transparent with information, putting the customer in mind first, of like, what do they need so that they can make a good choice and decision, feel confident, build trust. You know, we're about building trust with you, the buyer, and making sure that you're always supported from the very beginning of your research to the final delivery, and maybe even, you know, helping you with the resell when you move up to a bigger machine. So just want to bring the event to a close. It's been awesome to spend some time with you. Great big shout out to the team on site in New Jersey, showing off the equipment, all the work that went into putting this together. Big thumbs up, of course, and a huge thank you to the team on the ground. It's been fun to be with you today. Doug, you want the last word to just say goodbye to everybody?
Yeah, absolutely. So everybody that joined to check this out, thank you so much. We appreciate you taking time out of your day to spend it with us. If you have any further questions, if you want to check out the machines, please visit our website. If you have any specific questions that you didn't get asked today, contact our sales team. I'll be right there to jump on a call with you and answer any further questions. Thank you so much.
Awesome. Have a great day, everyone. Thanks for joining.
Are you tired of dealing with heavy equipment procurement? Are slow quotes, difficult financing, and delivery delays holding up your projects? Machinery Partner makes buying heavy equipment faster, easier, and stress-free. From sourcing to delivery, we're with you every step of the way. When you work with Machinery Partner, we pair you with an expert to discuss your needs. During this process, your expert will provide you with a variety of options and custom ROI reports to give you the tools to choose the right equipment. With access to thousands of machines from manufacturers all over the world, we help you source the right machine for your project. Our in-house financing team helps you secure the best rate with tailored payment plans. We make it easy to manage your cash flow so you can keep your projects moving. We deliver directly to your site, ready to work, so you can stay on schedule. We're here whenever you need us. With skilled service technicians located in every state, we provide on-site support, spare parts, and ongoing assistance to keep your business running smoothly. Machinery Partner, everything you need to make heavy equipment purchasing smarter, faster, and easier. Give us a call or visit machinerypartner.com today.